Hello future CS, welcome back to my channel again. Your one-stop guide for everything related to CA exams. If you are new here, I am Pooja, a chartered accountant. I have an experience of working for Ernst & Young and KPMG, and I help CA aspirants like you succeed with practical tips, strategies and support. So in this video, I'll be sharing key insights from the ICAI BOS webinar on CA Inter Auditing and Ethics. So we'll be looking at the section-wise weightages and the marks distribution. And we'll also discuss the most common mistakes committed by the students in the past exams so that you can avoid these errors and you can score better. So let's get started. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe. Every subscription works like a motivation for me and it also makes my day. So guys, when you visit my channel, in the playlist section, you can see there is a separate playlist for CA Inter exams. So in this playlist, you can find different type of study plan, subject specific guidance and much more videos. And there is also a playlist for CA GPT for students. In this playlist, I have made different videos in which I have shown as to how you can use CA GPT while preparing for your exams. So do visit my channel and watch these videos. And there are various other playlists as well which might be helpful for you. So first we'll see the section-wise weightages and the marks allotted for each section. So first we have here section 1. This comprises of chapter number 1, that is nature, objective and scope of audit. And the section wise weightage for this is 4% to 6%. And the marks allotted to this chapter is 5 marks to 7 marks. Next we have section number 2. This comprises of chapter number 2, audit strategy, audit planning and audit program. And the weightage allotted for this section is 8% to 12%. And the marks allotted are 9 marks to 14 marks. Then we have section number 3. This comprises of chapter number 3, risk assessment and internal control. And the weightage for this section 3 is also same as section 2, that is 8% to 12%. And the marks are also same, 9 marks to 14 marks. Then we have section 4. This comprises of two chapters, chapter number 4, audit evidence, and chapter number 6, audit documentation. And the weightage for this is 12% to 18%. And the marks allotted are 14 marks to 21 marks. Next we have section 5. This comprises of chapter number 5, audit of items of financial statements. And the weightage for this is 12% to 20%. So this section is the section with the highest weightage. And the marks allotted for this is 14 marks to 24 marks. Then we have section number 6. This comprises of chapter 7, completion and review. And the weightage for this is 8% to 12%. And the marks allotted for this is 9 marks to 14 marks. Then we have section number 7. This comprises of chapter number 8, audit report. And the weightage for this is 8% to 12%. And the marks allotted are 9 marks to 14 marks. Then we have section number 8. This comprises of two chapters. Chapter 9, special features of audit of different types of entity. And chapter number 10, audit of banks. And the weightage for this is 12% to 18%. And the marks allotted for this is 14 marks to 21 marks. Then we have section number 9, that is chapter 11, ethics and terms of audit engagement. And the weightage allotted for this section is 8% to 10%. And the marks allotted are 9 marks to 12 marks. Now we'll see the most commonly committed errors in the past exam. Please note down these errors so that you do not commit these errors in your exams. So the first error committed by the student is selective study. So it was noticed that many students only do selective study, that is looking at the section wise weightages. They study only the chapters with the highest weightage. For example, they study chapter 8 audit report, chapter 10 audit of banks. So most of them think that this is the most important chapter and they ignore the basic concepts like chapter number 1 nature, objective and scope of audit, or chapter number 6 audit documentation, thinking that this has less weightage. So ICA often asks small but tricky questions even from the ignored areas. So selective study backfires. So whenever you are studying, give more importance to chapter with the highest weightage. However, do not ignore the other chapters. Even the other chapters which have less weightage, those are also very important for the exam. So ensure you study all the chapters. The next mistake committed by students was lack of written practice. So most of the times it was noticed that students did not do sufficient written practice. For example, in chapter 11, ethics, questions often required you to quote fundamentally principles of ethics. So most of the time students have read them out, but they have never done the written practice. So in exam it was noticed that they struggled to recall the exact keywords like integrity, objectivity, professional competence, etc. So it is not like you should do entire copy paste from the textbook. However, there will be some keywords like we just now discussed. So those keywords have to be written in your answer. So it won't be possible to exactly remember those keywords and write it unless you have done sufficient written practice. So without written practice, your answer will look incomplete and it will lead to loss of marks. Hence, it is very important to do written practice. The next error noticed was not reading the questions carefully. So most of the times in the hurry during the exams, it was noticed that students do not read the questions carefully. Suppose a case scenario is asked from chapter 3, risk assessment and internal control. The question mentions state auditor's responsibility in evaluating internal control. So many students instead write the features of internal control. This is a completely different answer. So in this case, the marks are lost just because the question wasn't read carefully. So it is very important to read the question carefully and then write the answer. First, see what the question is asking. Whether it is asking to define something, whether it is asking to analyze something, whether it is asking responsibility, or whether it's asking process, or whether it is asking to write the features. So in this manner, you have to first find out what the question is asking and then only you have to give the proper answer. The next commonly committed error was improper utilization of reading time. So as we all are aware that 15 minutes reading time will be there in the exam. So it is very important to make proper use of this 15 minutes reading time. So the audit paper usually has a lot of mix of direct theory questions like from chapter 5 audit of items of financial statements, and as well as tricky case scenarios like from chapter 9 special audits. So if you don't scan the question paper correctly in the first 15 minutes, you might waste time on a lengthy 8 marker question and later you might miss a easier 4 marker question. So planning is the key here. So you have to use the 15 minutes reading time very efficiently. So in that 15 minutes reading time, what you will have to do is first you will have to go through all the questions. So in the descriptive part, there will be one choice, right? So first you will have to decide as to which question you will not answer. Then out of the remaining questions, you have to see as to which question you will answer first. So first answer that question which you know the best. Then answer the next question which you know the next best, and so on. And one more important tip is you have to write all the subparts of the question at one place itself. So suppose you are answering question number 2 and there are 3 subparts A, B and C. And if you do not know the answer to subpart B, you can write answer to subpart 2A, then subpart 2C, and then you can leave some space for subpart B and come back to it later on and write. So under question number 2, in 3 subparts A, B and C, you can interchange it. But You cannot write like first 2A, then 3B, then again come to 2, like that you cannot do. So ensure all subparts are written together and start each question and each subpart in a new page, because this will enhance your presentation. And ensure you divide the time based on the marks allotted to the question, and also keep aside 10 to 15 minutes for revision purpose as well. The next error noticed was insufficient revision. So audit is full of standards on auditing. If you study only once, you might forget important numbers like SA 230 is audit documentation, SA 500 is audit evidence. So ICI expects you to mention the SA reference for full marks. So without repeated revision, recall becomes a big issue. So what you can do is, while studying itself, note down the essay numbers and the names in one sheet, and you should continuously revise this, because quoting the essay numbers and the standard name will enhance your answer and it will lead to more marks. However, if you do not remember the correct essay number, do not quote the wrong essay number or the wrong name. In case even after studying many times, if you cannot remember at all the essay name and number, just write as per the standards on auditing and then continue your answer. Don't write the wrong numbers or name, because if you write the wrong number or name, it might lead to loss of marks. And also the ICI has come up with something called as Saransh. So this actually is a summarized format of your entire study material. So you can use this also for revision purpose. However, Saransh is not a substitute for your study material. First you have to study the study material and then study this Saransh. And this Saransh should be used only for revision purpose. So the next error noticed was misinterpretation of questions. So most of the times it was noticed that students misinterpreted the question. This led to loss of mark. For example, if there is a question from chapter 8 audit report and the question is about situations requiring a modified audit opinion, but many students end up writing the types of audit report, that is qualified, adverse, disclaimer of opinion. So the examiner expects the specific conditions when modification is required and not just the type of audit report. So do not misinterpret the question. First read and try to understand the question with an open mind as to what the question is asking, and then only write the answer. The next error noticed was weak conceptual understanding. So for example, if we see chapter number 2, audit strategy, planning and program, many students just memorize definitions, but they do not understand the difference between an audit strategy and an audit program. So it is very important to have a conceptual understanding of all the topics that you are studying, because in your exam mostly application based question will come, case scenario based question will come. So if you just do rote learning or memorizing, when an application based question is asked in the exam, you won't be able to explain why the strategy comes first and then the audit program follows. Hence, whatever you are studying, do not just merely memorize, try to understand it. Because when you understand it, even if a tricky or twisted question comes in the exam, you will be able to answer it easily. And the next error noticed was unable to apply the concepts properly. So for example, take chapter number 10, audit of banks. Suppose if there is a question about non-performing asset classification, sometimes it was noticed that some students only write theory of what are NPAs, but ICI expects application. That is how the auditor should verify NPAs in practice. That is checking overdue days, provision norms, etc. So without applying the concept to the case, it will lead to loss of marks. So hence you have to understand as to how you have to apply the concept. That is application based and case scenario based questions have to be practiced. So for this purpose, there is a case scenario booklet also which the ICI has launched. So you can go through that, because in that many different type of case scenarios have been given and they have shown as to how to write the answer for that. And then go through your RTP and MTP also. In that also you will get many case scenarios. So this will help you to understand. as to how you should apply the different concepts. So guys, that was a quick summary of the ICAI BOS webinar on auditing and ethics. If you prepare with the right focus areas and avoid these common errors, you will definitely boost your exam performance. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more exam focused updates and strategies. So basically this webinar was held for the September 2025 attempt. However, if you are preparing for the January 26 or May 26 attempt and you come across this video, you can still follow the points that we have discussed in this webinar. More or less, it will still be the same. So all the best for your preparation and I will see you all in the next video.